Hello and welcome to the Legalese Academy YouTube channel. In our lesson today, we're going to look at legal collocations. So we will look at the structure of collocations. We will also go through some examples of collocations, and we will look then finally at collocations in use and also how to avoid some very common mistakes when using collocations. So first of all, what are collocations, or specifically legal collocations? So legal collocations are word combinations that are commonly used in legal English. These combinations are not random. So they follow very specific patterns, very specific structures, and they form part of the precision of legal English and also the clarity of legal English as well. And they are often conventions um, in the professionalism of legal communication as well. So just looking at a definition then of a collocation. So they're pairs or groupings of words that are frequently used together. So a collocation would be an expression or a phrase that sounds very, very natural to a native English speaker. And in legal settings, using the correct collocation can convey a very specific legal meaning that might be lost or confusing if other words are used. So, for example, we would say enter into a contract. We would not say make a contract. The phrase enter into does have a precise legal meaning because it is a convention of the English language. It's just the way we speak in legal practice and in legal contexts. It's the right choice because it has become a collocation that is used. So you enter into a contract, you don't make a contract. And make is a verb that people who are learning English often use when they're unsure of the correct way to say it, but here it would be enter into. So looking at the structure of collocations, then they follow a pretty basic structure. So as I said, they are phrases, words that commonly appear together, and they sound very natural. So in legal English, then it's an extension of that. They are used to maintain that formal tone, the formal language that we're used to. So a collocation then broadly consists of either a verb and a noun. For example, file a lawsuit. So lawsuit is a noun, file is a verb, to file. So verb and the noun combined, file a lawsuit. You can also have them as an adjective with a noun. So a binding agreement. Binding is the adjective and agreement is the noun. And finally, you can have a preposition and a noun. So, for example, in breach. So these word combinations form the backbone of legal language, making the text sound professional and authoritative. So looking more closely then at verb and noun pairings. So some of the most common legal collocations follow the pattern of verb and noun. These combinations are very often used in legal documents, in contracts, in court rulings and judgments as well. So, for example, file a complaint. So, file a complaint means to submit or to lodge an official complaint, often to a court. It could be against a party in proceedings, it could be against a lawyer, anything like that. Enforce a law or enforce the law. So, refers to the act of making sure that the law is obeyed. Again, reach a settlement, very, very common phrase used in civil practice as well, when the parties reached a settlement or a settlement was reached. So this means to agree, basically, to a resolution. So each of these collocations has a precise meaning that conveys important legal actions or procedures. Looking at adjectives and nouns then, so we'll take a look at an example. So these are obviously used to describe legal situations, agreements, or sometimes obligations as well. So looking at the first one, binding agreement. So it refers to an agreement that is binding, is legally enforceable. Due process. You will hear this a lot, particularly in American English or American legal shows. You'll hear about due process. So this phrase basically describes the fair treatment that individuals are entitled to under the law. Okay, criminal liability being another one, describes the legal responsibility for criminal actions. These collocations are essential for accurately describing legal obligations and protections in legal documents. Looking at preposition and noun pairings then. So these are commonly used in legal English to describe the relationship between separate legal concepts. They often appear in contracts and also in court judgments as well. So the first example, in breach, they're used to describe someone who has violated a contract or legal duty. So one party is in breach of their obligations to the other party. The next one, under contract. So refers to someone who is bound by a legal agreement. So the parties are under contract. By law means that something is required or permitted according to legal regulation. So it's required by law that you pay income tax every year. So understanding these preposition and noun collocations is crucial for interpreting legal documents correctly, because this is the type of structure that will appear very often. Looking then at some common mistakes that people make when they are using or attempting to use collocations. So a frequent issue for non-native speakers learning legal English is using incorrect word combinations, putting the wrong words together. It can lead to confusion, obviously, and it can also make legal writing in particular sound very unprofessional. So it is, of course, important to learn the correct legal collocations and to avoid these errors. Using incorrect legal collocations, for example, saying something like make a lawsuit instead of file a lawsuit, is a very common mistake. Like I said on the first slide, talking about making a contract versus entering into a contract. Also, not recognizing formal legal combinations. So non-native speakers might use everyday language in an inappropriate way, such as saying give permission instead of grant permission. So in normal general English, people would say, oh, I give you permission to do that. In a legal context, we would often say grant permission. The court grants permission, or the court grants leave, things like that. So incorrect collocations can make legal writing less precise, even in situations where the precision of the writing is not affected. It will stand out. It will look very unnatural. So practice makes perfect. I'm going to put some sentences on the screen here, and then in the comments below, I would like you to try to answer them. So the first one, the plaintiff decided to something, a complaint against the defendant. The parties something, an agreement after weeks of negotiation. And the last one, the contract was found to be something breach of the terms outlined. So the first thing I'd like you to look at is, what is the pairing? Is it a noun and a verb, an adjective and a noun, or a preposition and a verb? And also, once you have that assessment made, try and fill in the gaps with what you think the correct legal collocation would be. So that's it for this week and this video. Make sure to hit the subscribe button so that you don't miss any videos. We post shorts, YouTube shorts, pretty much every day. And the intention, alongside running online legal English courses, is to post videos here on YouTube for free twice or even 3 times a week, just to be able to share things that are quite popular amongst my students here on an open and free forum as well. So make sure to hit subscribe so that you don't miss out on any of those.